Hello, everybody. We are here with Main Stage Wrestling, not on WERW Real College Radio. I am Jacy Cola. I am joined by,
Sam Gelfand.
The Great
and
Tigerman.
that's absolutely right. And contrary to what Sam was saying prior to our recording, it's not May 19th today. It is July the 9th at the time of this recording. And we took a week off, guys. We weren't here last week to run down all the wonderful, wonderful news in the world of pro wrestling. And so I think this is a monumental occasion because it marks the return after our very, very sad, unfortunate time away.
Hey, you can't use the M word.
What's the M word? I forgot
Mark.
the M word. Mark? Mark? When did I say
Yeah, you
Mark?
can't use that.
You
When did I
said
say
this
that?
Marks the
this
occasion.
this M
Oh,
our
shit.
return. Yeah.
This is indicative of the occasion of our return. We're here live, not live, broadcasting. And what's been going on in your two lives since we last spoke? It's been a while.
Well, I went
You wanna
mountain
hit?
climbing
You went
You went
mountain
mountain
climbing.
climbing.
on July the 4th. Actually, guys, I went.
I should-
Wow.
I think that the viewers at home should know that in the most Tiger way possible, he says, I can't do the show. I'm going to some mountain somewhere.
Yeah, we were supposed to record this show on the 4th of July, just this past weekend. However, come the day of, Tiger informs us that he was going to make the trek out to a mountain, some mountain somewhere.
Mhm.
And so, unfortunately, the recording had to be put on hold. I was okay with that, though, because Tiger got to experience a mountain somewhere.
And I,
Mhm.
I got a heat stroke, so
Oh, is that legit?
Oh.
Is that a shoot?
that's a shoot, brother.
Oh, shit, are you okay, man?
No, I'm fine now. It's been a week.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, heat stroke's nothing to mess with.
What was that experience like?
It was just very unpleasant on the day of. But then afterwards, I just had a minor headache. But then afterwards, I'm fine. So I'm fine now.
Okay. Do you resent
Yeah, I
your
mean,
family
it's-
for taking you to some mountain? Like,
No. It was a fun experience. Like it was also like a mountain that was like, you know how if the mountain is dangerous enough, you need to have gear and professional license to climb it.
yeah.
And this is like the most difficult one right below having to have gear and professional license.
Okay. And are you a proficient mountain climber, Tiger?
I
Is this
am
something that we didn't?
I am not.
You are.
I'm not.
Oh, fuck.
Otherwise,
That's
I would
damn.
not have like scratched my knees and elbows very badly.
I see.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you mess with nature. Is you get beat up, or terrible allergies in my case.
I mean, I would never have a handicap match against the natural disasters if that's what you're saying.
Yeah, no, you get squashed.
By
They're very
earthquake.
big.
I want to point out, Sam, you compared your allergies to Tiger having a heat stroke, which
No,
I feel
I was
like.
comparing my allergies to him getting scratches on his knees
Oh,
and
okay,
elbows.
okay. Well, I see.
No, I've had heat stroke too. I understand it's not fun.
Okay. I guess I'm the odd man out. I've yet to have a heat stroke. That's
Which is
huh.
weird because I live in Florida. You live in Texas. You would think
Yeah.
that between the two of us would have had the best chance of having a heat stroke.
Maybe he's
I mean,
just
there are a couple.
immune to heat stroke now because of the
That's
average
true. I could
temperature.
be
intensity.
immune, right? Like I could just be used to it, or it could be the agoraphobia, so just never leaving
It could
the house.
be that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you build up a tolerance after a while. Like today here in Syracuse, the feels like index was 104 degrees Fahrenheit, and
Oh, sick.
I went out in jeans and a hoodie.
That's in Syracuse, you said?
Syracuse, it was
God damn.
99 degrees before heat index.
Wow.
That's awesome. Nice. Wow,
Well,
Honestly,
guys.
I'd rather it be 99 here than 93 back in Florida, because at least you're not getting the 95% humidity.
I see. Well, according to Bleacher Report, guys, this past Monday night on Raw, they received a 95% rating, which that might not be. I could be lying. That could be made up. But this.
I was going to say that's way too convenient, because that
Yeah,
was not a
yeah.
segue that was discussed in advance.
Yeah, no, it was a lie on my part. It could be like serendipitously true, but I I fibbed to get into the wrestling. I hope that's okay with you guys.
You can't. You don't say that you fibbed here. You say it was a work.
It was a work, guys. Oh, do you want to talk about wrestling?
Let me
I
think about it.
mean,
Okay, this happens every week. Guys, I'm sorry. We got to talk about wrestling at some point. We can drag on the intro as long as we want. We can pretend to have as many technical difficulties as we want. It's
Pretend. Look at the clock.
just you guys have just been stalling. I've been stalling as well. We don't want to talk about wrestling. That's what this is.
See,
We're almost an
Okay,
hour.
then you know what? You know what? Let me say something about wrestling that'll set up anticipation for next week.
Okay,
Because
okay.
as Tiger just found out, the Steam Summer Sale just ended earlier today. And one of the things I picked up over the summer sale, I don't know if either of you know this, Kaiju Big Battle has a video game.
Wow. That's so weird. I feel like they're such a small company. For them to have a video game is I
It's like a type. It's like a '90s JRPG,
Oh,
like an old
it's not a
Final
wrestling
Fantasy
game?
type of thing. Well, I mean, it has the Kaiju Big Battle characters. You know, you're still fighting Doctor Cube. You're still American Beetle and Dustle Bunny. So I
and
will tell you guys next week, because I just bought it today. I will play it between this episode and next, and I will let you guys know how it is.
No, we're gonna do a
wow.
live Let's Play. Come see us on our YouTube
Oh
channel where
yeah.
we will be streaming Kaiju Big Battle, the video game.
That's absolutely right. That's right, guys.
It is. What is the formal title of it? Kaiju Big Battle Fyter Fantasy,
Do you know what year it came out, Sam?
2018,
Real? How have I not heard of
late
it? Like,
2018.
that's recent enough for me to have cared about wrestling video games. So I have. That's really strange.
I would have thought
Probably
that
for the
New
same
Legacy would
reason
have
that
played it already.
Probably for the same reason that you said that you only hear about Kaiju Big Battle around WrestleMania time, because
I guess
uh,
so. But
I
like,
don't know. I love Kaiju Big Battle.
I just figure there are so few wrestling games that come out every year that like I would have heard about it somehow through the grapevine, but I guess not.
Speaking
Maybe
of which,
because it's a JRPG,
WWE.
it's not a wrestling game, so to speak. It just
Yeah,
includes wrestling characters.
this is fair.
What do you guys
What were you
think
saying,
about
Tiger?
WWE Battlegrounds?
Oh boy, can't wait. Hasn't like
Oh,
the Twitter account gone inactive for the past like 2 months?
good.
What
Like
whose
I,
Twitter account?
for Battlegrounds for the new video game, like they were tweeting for a little bit, and then they went silent, and there hasn't been any news in like since quarantine started.
I
Didn't a
think there was
trailer?
another trailer released today
Yeah.
Oh, there
or
was?
yesterday,
Okay,
something like
that's
that.
good. That's good.
I
We're not.
don't. This is a topic I feel like I can speak on, actually. I mean, I can speak on any topic, but this one specifically. Because I've had a long crusade advocating for the return of arcade-based sports video games. That's my thing. Not only in terms of enjoyment, but like, as a broadcaster, I was trained by the voice of NBA Jam, Mr. Boom Shakalaka himself. So to see the slow death of the arcade video game has been really painful for me. And while it
Tiger.
is great that WWE Battlegrounds is returning to an arcadey style, this is not what I meant.
Okay, that's unfortunate. Did you ever play All Stars, Sam, or have you ever seen it
Yeah,
at least?
I got it. I got it used for my PlayStation 3, and I really enjoy All Stars, except for the fact that there's just no snap to it. It's very like it all feels very floaty, but it is
Yeah,
fun to play.
that's unfortunate. If I recall correctly, isn't that your least favorite kind of wrestling? Floaty wrestling?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, great, great. Well,
It's
that's
like,
unfortunate.
I want, like, the thing is if you're a lot of wrestling games, they can't decide if they're trying to be wrestling games or fighting games. So
Hmm.
with a fighting game, you're looking for snap in your movements,
Yeah,
frame, the number of frames it takes for punches to land and whatnot. You want it to be very quick, but WWE All Stars, because it's a wrestling game, it takes those really slow late '80s American punches, and
hmm.
so even though it looks great, especially when striking, it feels unsatisfying.
I gotcha. I'm still on the search for that battle pack that came out. It was a Toys R Us exclusive 2-pack with Stone Cold Steve Austin and CM Punk, and it costs hundreds of dollars now, and it sucks. It's just impossible. It's
I feel
also
like
I'm going to vent to you guys about this because that was the only CM Punk action figure ever released in that yellow gear he wore during the pipe bomb. So
Hmm.
everyone wants the figure also because it's like so you can make customs of the pipe bomb, but it's already rare enough because it was an All Stars exclusive, and so it's just
It's
it sucks.
it's $350 right now on eBay, by the way.
Oh, cool! Thank you for that, Tiger. Really appreciate that.
I
Nice.
feel like your collection of wrestling figures, I feel like that whole scene must be very similar to my collection of baseball cards.
I imagine this collection of baseball cards is immense and overwhelming and unnecessary.
Several thousand, yes.
Okay. I don't know if I'm in the thousands, but
How much is the
I
most
got a few hundred.
expensive baseball card you've ever paid for?
That I've ever paid for. Well, that's kind of my secret. Most of my collection has been like at the end of every year, they all come out with the complete set
Oh,
of
okay.
every Major League Baseball player, and it's like 700 players in one box, and it's like $40. You hold on to that, you don't open them, you don't touch the cards or whatever, and that
Hmm.
appreciates in value over time. So like maybe my best haul is I have an untouched, unopened 1993 complete set. Actually, I can't call it untouched and unopened because I opened it once, but it's all in mint condition and it's got some really cool stuff in there, like baseball Hall of Famers as their as prospects, like their draft card, saying this guy got drafted in this edition of the 1992 MLB draft. He has future. Little do they know that future turned out to be Hall of Fame worthy.
Wow.
I got a Zack Ryder Elite 9 action figure signed by him, his dad, and Chia Petta. So that's nice. You know?
Yeah, Hall of
I
Fame
met him walk.
worthy. Definitely,
I
definitely.
know. Uh, to
I
be
do have a
fair, it was
couple.
that.
Oh,
y-
go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. No, no, go ahead, Sam.
No, I do have a bunch of signed baseball cards, though. I have to imagine those
Oh,
are
okay.
probably worth more. I've got a couple Hall of
Gotcha.
Famers in there.
Gotcha.
But for the most part, I think unlike wrestling action figures, most of baseball card collecting is just you get it and you let it sit and you let it appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, I've never gone about collecting wrestling figures with the mindset of, oh, I'm going to sell this for money one day. It's more like I like wrestling. I'm still a child, and so here are my toys, and I like looking at them. And so that's sort of the mindset I go in with. But speaking of Zack Ryder, everyone knows now Matt Cardona was one of those names let go a few months ago when all this quarantine stuff started going down. WWE did their huge release after WrestleMania. Guys like Allison Anderson left, EC3, all sorts of people out the door, right? And if we think back to that time, one of the most shocking names on the list was Heath Slater. I mean, I think all three of us thought, at least at the time, that that dude was going to be in WWE for life, right? Like
Hmm.
he's a
Agreed.
lifer. And so to see him leave was very weird. And so finally, getting to the topic of this past Monday, 95% rating, Heath Slater made his big question mark return in like one of the opening segments of the show. I don't know. Did either of you guys see this or no?
Oh
I
yeah, I did. It was a phenomenal promo.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Because Dolph Ziggler basically calls out Heath Slater because of the match coming up at Horror Show Extreme Rules, or I think that's the name. It's gonna be Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre for the Universal Championship, right? It'll be a fine enough match. I don't know
I
if
wonder
anyone
who's
thinks
gonna
Dolph
win.
is. Yeah, I mean, if Dolph wins, that would be awesome. Like that would just I would enjoy that a lot. But in the lead up to this match, Dolph is basically saying, "Hey, you abandoned your friends. You're not the same person anymore. Here's one of your old friends to prove that point." And then it's Heath Slater, and he comes out, and Heath does cut
And
this
he's just one
incredible.
man.
Yeah, he's one man. He's a free agent. He admits that he only actually has two kids, which I found astounding. Like I didn't
I
appreciate
was
that
shocked.
whatsoever. I felt
No, I don't.
deceived.
I understand why I put it in there, but I really wanted to go along with the illusion, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like the 2016 SmackDown was maybe the greatest time for wrestling in the past 10, 15 years, and I would have just preferred to leave the memories alone.
Yeah.
I would like to remove the word maybe from that statement and just go all out with it and say it was the greatest.
Yes, it was.
But Heath
Wouldn't
Slater,
this promo be better if you're like if he didn't mention it, you're just under the pretense that he has all those kids?
yeah, I mean, I guess
Like he
so.
got
I don't know.
fired, dude. He got legit fired. So
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't mind him bringing it up and being like, I don't mean the 22 kids you think I have. I mean the two daughters that I have at home. Like I get it. And it made me feel like, oh, he's like this
It
feels
builds
real.
pathos.
Yeah, like I liked it. I understood why he did it. And
mhm.
so I didn't mind it per se. Like it's I don't cuz if they want to rehire Heath Slater and he wants to go back to having 22 kids, I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to be like, "Hey, do you remember the July 6th edition of Raw? That's not true. You don't have 26 kids." You know? I'm not going to do that. And so basically, he
If
comes out, cuts this great promo, and then he gets up in Drew's face, and then he shoves him, and then he slaps him because he wants a match with the world champion. And then Drew, at first he was hesitant because, like, you can, I guess the idea is that Drew doesn't want to have to beat up his old friend, right? Like, he knows what's going to happen, and he doesn't want to do it. And then eventually he's like, okay, whatever, we're going to fight. And then after like 2 minutes, Heath Slater got murdered.
Oh, it was less than. It was a couple of punches in the corner, an Irish whip to the
Oh.
other corner. Heath Slater charges in, and a fucking claymore. It was, it was not good. Also, that was the first time I've cursed on this show. Damn it.
Wow, that was a big step. We're moving on up in the world, Sam.
Well, I try not to. I try to maintain my professionalism, but I
Yeah,
was getting really loose and relaxed, and as you're supposed to. But I forget that I curse a lot around friends.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Tiger, I think we're on our way to getting Sam that Cody tattoo.
Mhm.
You know, we're
Yeah,
already getting him to slip up.
definitely.
I
No,
think
but
so.
it's okay because you know what? I guess the gloves are off now, and we're that much closer to me reenacting Michael Cole's famous "Hey, listen, fuckhead."
Oh wow, that's right. The chains are off,
I
and so
I thought you were gonna
oh,
reenact Michael Cole's "Are you ready to enter hell?" to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I can't. I want to know what was going through Michael Cole's head at the time because he covered the Gulf War for CBS News, a legit, well-traveled, well-trained journalist, being asked to ask someone, "Are you ready to enter hell?" Oh,
you're
another
you're
point about Heath
saying
Slater. Let's get
yes.
back to on topic. I when Heath Slater walked out, and I should say this whole thing made me want to see Heath Slater versus Drew McIntyre more than it did make me want to see Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre. When Heath Slater walked out, it was the commentators gave him a level of it's Christian, except that I think it actually worked because it wasn't an underwhelming
Yeah.
return from the commentators. It was more of like a water cooler whispering. Is he supposed to be here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I didn't think it was bad at all. I was a bit like sad because I thought if this happened in front of a real crowd, how insane the reaction would be,
Yeah,
you
that'd be a
know?
huge pop.
Yeah, but
But
like,
considering
for,
that, that was probably the right way to handle it.
yeah, no, I think it came across really well. Like, it sucks that he got jacked and like is in incredible shape and comes back and loses in 5 seconds. But I don't know. I like the segment for what it was, and I mean, maybe he'll be on more. Like, maybe he'll get re-signed. I don't know what the deal is, but that that was
I've
that
heard
was that.
rumors he's going to Impact.
Oh, really?
He
That
posted something on his Twitter that coincided with the date of Slammiversary, I believe.
okay, gotcha. Like my dad and I have actually been fast forwarding through Impact like the past month or so. You know, we'll stop on like one match or two throughout the show. Impact is 2 hours, and it should not be. I will just say that.
It should not
But
be.
at the end, like they had a little advertisement for Slammiversary, and I think the idea is that they're teasing 3 people coming in from WWE. Because at the end
My
of the
understanding is that EC3's on his way. I've heard Gallows and Anderson may be going to Impact as well. I heard Heath Slater maybe
Mhm.
as well. And
I don't
honestly,
see
if there's
why.
anyone who is released who should go to the NWA, I think Heath Slater would fit in so
Yeah, that'd
perfectly
be
there.
cool for sure. For sure. I don't know.
Unfortunately, NWA is probably dead.
Oh, this is true. Was it Dave Lagana, the dude who
Yeah.
had to sort of drop out?
This would be a very natural segue
Yes.
if we're done with this. Because speaking of speaking out, I brought it up right just before the show. I mentioned at the end of last episode that I congratulated my very good friend in wrestling, Saib Al-Sabah, for signing with MLW.
Mm-hmm.
He has already left MLW on his own terms. And
Oh,
I have some details on the surrounding drama coming out of that.
is this a scoop for main stage? Are we breaking news?
Well, I don't think it's a scoop per se,
Ah.
considering that he's been posting it on his Twitter and stuff, but I don't think
Mm-hmm.
many outlets have been covering it.
Okay. Okay. Well, so we're the first official wrestling journalist outlet to cover it. Is this
We might
correct?
be the second.
Okay, we're one of the first wrestling
One of
journalist
the first.
organizations to cover it. That's a big deal.
Yeah, so my understanding is that Saeed Al-Sabah had re-signed with Major League Wrestling. He had previously spent a short stint with them in 2017 when they were just kind of resurfacing. They were mostly using local Florida, South Florida talent. He left recently due to connections between one of the co-owners of MLW, not Court Bauer. I believe it's Mr. St. Laurent is his name. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Either way, it has something to do with a connection between MSL, as he's sometimes referred to, the Team Vision Dojo in Orlando, and Chazen Rance, who,
Oh,
if you've
okay, that's the one name
if
I recognize.
yes, and if you've heard of this name, it's because he is a convicted pedophile.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's
you may
true.
have also heard that there is something surrounding Chazen Rance and a missing woman.
Yeah, also Teddy Hart too. No.
Teddy Hart as well, yes. So, although all of the details are not out, my understanding is that upon learning about MSL's connection with Jason Rance and Team Vision JoJo, whatever that connection may be, Saeed Al-Sabah pulled out immediately.
Gotcha. I mean,
And
good for him. Like,
where this also gets dicey, is that he later posted a private conversation. Well, he posted a couple of private conversations actually, uh,
hmm
but one of them was with a certain Brian Pillman Jr. And Brian Pillman Jr. reached out to Saeed and said, "Hey, I saw that you got your release. I requested mine, but haven't been granted it. What did you do? How did it happen?"
Huh.
So
Wow.
it seems that as an aftermath of all of this, Brian Pillman Jr. is also leaving MLW, which would when he appeared on AEW Dark this week, and Court Bauer made some statement on Twitter, I believe, that said something along the lines of, "Yeah, he's still under contract, but we'll let him work there or whatever while we're not filming stuff or having shows."
hmm
But it looks like it may not be that. It may just be that he is trying to escape from his contract.
Yeah. Wow. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't know, because it's just, I mean, good for your friend, but like, did he already sign the contract? Was he officially announced as a member of the MLW roster?
He was, yeah,
And
for about 2
this,
weeks. I mean, look, I said to him I sent him a private message afterwards. I said, "Look, I may sometimes question your business decisions, but I cannot question the fact that you'll always stand up for what you think is right."
yeah, yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Also, there's something that there was an episode of Best Friends, right? Like Chuck and Trent's podcast they did with High Spots, and they had on Teddy Hart, and it was in like 2015 or 2016, right when he had gotten out of prison,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of the weirdest pieces of audio and video that I've ever consumed in my life. Like,
I think I've seen a clip of it. They're so uncomfortable,
yeah, because
visually
Chase Rance is
uncomfortable.
there in the background the whole time, and at one point Teddy Hart brings him onto the screen, and you can tell Chuck and Trent are uncomfortable. And I think people need to go watch that because it's a trip, guys. Okay, like I don't know how else to describe it, but you can really take a lot and learn a lot about who those two men are from that show. But
It's
yeah.
also to be noted that Shays and Rants only continues to get bookings for two reasons. One, he has his own promotion in Orlando, and two, he is one of the few people in South Florida that can reliably rent out rings. So a lot of people feel my understanding is he basically says you can rent a ring from me, but you have to book me.
Yeah.
There
I
are
mean,
alternatives, though.
it's
Just putting that out
very
there. If anyone in South Florida is looking to rent a ring, happen to know a guy.
it's very telling that what's it called in wrestling, someone like that can still maintain and then keep a living, like maintain a living doing it. It's rough. But guys, let's move
Extremely
on from
rough.
that because you know what else is going to be extremely rough? Okay, this can go a lot of ways. At Extreme Rules horror show, there was a match announced, and this match I find to be probably the most exciting match announced for the card thus far, and that is between the father of Dominic Mysterio and the Monday Night Messiah Seth Rollins, and an
Eddie
eye
Guerrero's
for
coming
an
back?
eye. I know, it's incredible. That's why it's such a big deal. Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins are going to be fighting in an eye for an eye match, wherein one of the opponents has to have their eye gouged out. So that's good.
Yeah, it's
I-
they're actually putting like a guy there and just like 3D projecting Eddie's like facial features onto him. Sam,
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that-
It's like
It's a
Tupac.
hologram, like
Michelle.
Tupac.
yeah,
Yeah.
Beat me to it. Beat me to it. Wow, by like a half
Yeah.
a second.
Well, I quite frankly can't wait because I assume it's going to be filmed ahead of time, so it'll be incredible. The WWE is known for their very high quality just in production. You know, look at the Street Profits and Viking Raiders from the past few months. You know, they go all out.
House
So-
of Horrors match. Bray Wyatt. Randy Orton.
yes, shining examples.
Randy
I-
Orton versus Bray Wyatt, of course. as
Yes,
well.
at WrestleMania in Orlando, Bugs on the ring.
No, the one where they were fighting at the house where they had a
That's the
fridge.
House of
Oh,
Horrors.
yeah, that's the House of Horrors. You
Yeah.
know, but both of them are worthy of being mentioned. You
What
know,
about the Hollywood Backlot Brawl? Goldust and Roddy Piper. That one was good, though.
No, that was actually good. You know, we're straying away from the topic. But I am actually excited for this Rey Mysterio Seth Rollins match because I think it's gonna be really weird and fun, and the two of them are really great. So I imagine it'll be at the very worst just a really weird match, right? Like if it just ends, I mean, I guess it could just be a regular wrestling match, in which case it'd be extremely underwhelming. But I really hope someone gets their eye ripped out, and then for the rest of the time they have to wrestle with an eye patch. Because like it works, right? Because isn't one of like the marks of Jesus that he gets blinded at one point? So like it's
You're asking a Jew.
okay, Tiger. You're a devout Christian, right?
I cannot lie to our audiences. Excuse me.
Okay. 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 I'm thinking back. I read a book called Jane Eyre in my senior year of high school, and in it, one of the characters is like an allegory for Christ or like a representation of Christ, and he gets marked on the hands and he loses his eyesight. And so I remember the eyesight being
You-
representative of Jesus Christ. So I
You
think
may be thinking of the Book of Job, in which Job was blinded.
maybe I
don't
have
think
no clue. I'm
Jesus was ever
trusting-
blinded.
Are you sure? I really feel like my English teacher told me.
The Book of Job. Job was blinded among also like having most of his family killed and losing all his money and losing his house and stuff in a tornado as a test of faith towards God. And then when his faith was unwavering, he got it all back.
Okay, I am just going to look online and I'm going to Google, was Jesus blind?
No,
you know,
Jesus
we have
has
technology.
healed a man who was blind.
Okay, this is true. According to Gospel of John 9:1-12, Jesus saw a man who had been blind since birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" That was profound. Yeah, no, he just healed blind people. So I guess Jesus wasn't blind. That's
So
unfortunate.
What does Jesus 3:16 say?
That's a great question.
It's I think it's John 3:16.
Oh,
No, it's Jesus. It's Jesus
Actually-
3:16.
Speaking of, I heard a really good story I could share real quick recently. It is about
Is
baseball,
it?
but it's connected to Jesus. So you know what?
Okay, good, good, good. I want to make sure.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but the New York Yankees, like, they don't allow players to have long hair or grow facial hair. It's a
Yes.
professionalism thing.
Okay.
So in the
Hmm.
mid 70s, a player joins the New York Yankees, and he has, for the time period, not all that long, hair. And the owner of the Yankees, George Steinbrenner, comes up to him and he says, "Why do you have long hair right now?" And he says to him, "Well, just jokingly, he was like, well, the Lord Jesus Christ grew out his hair, and it seemed to work out pretty well for him." And so the owner looks at him and he says, "Follow me." And the
Oh,
player has no idea what's going on. The owner of the New York Yankees, who is at least at the time was a billionaire, walks him out of the team hotel, across the street to the hotel pool, and he points at the pool and he says, "If you can walk on water, you can keep your hair."
that's incredible. Wow. I like that. What was the owner's name?
George Steinbrenner.
George. Wow, my favorite Steinbrenner. Great.
Definitely.
So,
Has he ever
He
had
was he
a?
was honestly he would have been an incredible heel manager.
that's awesome.
Has he ever had a match with George Hackenschmidt?
I do not believe so, but he
Okay.
was involved with George Costanza. He was a regular character on Seinfeld.
Hmm. I want to be involved with George Costanza. Guys, are you excited about the Eye for an Eye match? I feel like I'm the only one who mentioned anything about being happy or looking
I'm sure it'll
forward
be
to
fine.
anything. Or yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about
Tiger.
George Steinbrenner and Jesus. I don't know about you.
Yeah, George Costanza too. Don't forget about him.
If
But
if
Tiger, how are you?
if Seth does a better job at selling it than his former Shield brethren, then maybe it will be good.
What are you
Yeah,
talking
but
about? John Moxley did a great job selling it. He kept the eye patch on for months.
Have you seen him in New Japan where all he did was going to matches and the eye patch falls off, he just throws it away?
I thought the whole
Yeah, but he
thing was
kept
that
it
it
on
was.
in New Japan.
Oh,
I thought the idea was that it's a ruse, like because he ended up not being blind by the end, and it was like
yeah. So
Jericho, haha,
Jericho
I'm
should have
winning.
seen his New Japan matches where he just threw it off.
Yeah, yeah, he wasn't. I mean, I guess you're right. He sort of blew it, but I don't know. Jericho doesn't watch New Japan. He doesn't watch the
Wow.
product. It's
Doesn't watch
okay.
the
I
product.
know.
He doesn't
No, he
watch
does.
the product that he was on.
Well, he isn't
No,
there anymore, so he doesn't need to watch it.
that's right. It's a protest. It's a protest. And in the main event of this past episode of Monday Night Raw, we got to see Bailey, the Raw Women's Champ. No, she's a SmackDown Women's Champion, go one-on-one with the Raw Women's Champion, Asuka, in what was just basically an exhibition match leading up to Sasha's match with Asuka at the upcoming pay-per-view. And I just think it was notable enough to mention on the show because it was champion versus champion. And Asuka got what was essentially a clean win over Bailey. Like it was a roll up, but I don't believe she cheated.
Okay.
A roll up without cheating counts as a clean win.
Yeah, right. So
I mean,
I
Asuka's
think
beat Charlotte clean, so I don't see them like trying to put her down in any way, right? At this point.
I mean I guess so. Yeah, yeah. I just thought it was notable, like that. Hey, this champion beat this champion, so clearly there's a superior champion. But I
Were
don't
we
know.
talking last episode about how weird it is that for every once in a while WWE decides to push Asuka to the moon and she's unbeatable and unstoppable and she wins the championship and no one touches her and then they just kind of forget and throw her to the
Yes,
wayside.
we have absolutely talked about this, but I feel like this one isn't even in their control. Like the only reason Asuka's getting this kind of treatment is because Becky's gone. You know?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But I mean, I hope it continues, and I hope she doesn't lose it to Nia Jax or something. Like if she loses it to Sasha Banks, I'd be cool with that. Like I'd like having Sasha and Bailey the champions of both brands. I think that could be fun. But I think ultimately she's just gonna lose it to Charlotte, right? Probably at SummerSlam.
Probably.
Yeah. But
I
I
mean,
think the
Charlotte
last.
is the natural choice if she's going to drop it to anyone. Who else is available on Raw right now? Like, forget who even is on Raw. Who is available? Who is still willing to work during this pandemic?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean Shayna
Which,
could
by the
always
way, this is
come
the
in.
first time we've mentioned the pandemic this entire show. We've been doing well.
Yeah, I mean we sort of mentioned it with Zack Ryder and Heath Slater,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, it's close enough. It's close enough. But I think it's a gift, really, this pandemic, because if you watched SmackDown this past week, guys, you would have seen the the promo that was cut, the opening segment by one Matt Riddle. And I know you two did not see this. You guys already informed me. But I will just fill you in that Matt Riddle came out, and for whatever reason, he felt like he had to justify to the wrestling fans all around the world, this new audience he has been introduced to, why he is barefoot. And I don't know what compelled him to do this. You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure it wasn't an old man in the back obsessed with his feet,
Mm-hmm.
but he decided that he was going to come up with a backstory about why he wrestles barefoot. And apparently, when he was a kid, he used to like playing in an indoor pool, and the pool was very warm. And then what he would do is he would get out of the pool and he would run outside into the snow, and he would keep going back and forth between the hot pool and the cold snow, and eventually he got frostbite. And so now, whenever he wears shoes, it's uncomfortable. And this took a good like 10 minutes for him to explain to everybody. It went on for forever. And I felt it was worth telling you guys about. It was very notable.
Well, frankly, with what would you expect from someone who has a magic mushroom tattooed on his side?
I mean, he didn't blow away my expectations. You're right. Like I wasn't shocked by this per se, but
I love that the guy who legitimately might stand a chance against Brock Lesnar in a shoot. I'm glad that's the first promo they let him do. You know,
yeah, no, that's great. It's great stuff. It couldn't just be I used to do Ultimate Fighting, and so I got comfortable fighting barefoot. It couldn't be that simple. It had to
you couldn't
be.
have just not mentioned it. Like I get that, like he's supposed to, like his character is that he's supposed to be like a chill, laid back dude or whatever.
Yeah.
Just have him be a chill, like ideally, I agree with what Timothy Thatcher thought that they were gonna do, which was they're gonna have a shoot stable of shooters,
Mhm.
and then
Wow.
Matt Riddle is gonna be simultaneously like the strongest shoot fighter and also the joke character. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like he's
Well, the
gonna
funny
crack
thing
jokes,
is,
but like he's gonna be the
yeah.
punchline, but also in the ring he's just gonna job people out. Like okay,
And
perfect character, right?
you mentioned that like why not just not say anything about it? Like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because I went like however many years he was in NXT and on the indies watching him wrestle, bare feet and all, like Tootsie's exposed. And never once did it come to me. Never once did I have the hang up of why is this man not wearing shoes? You know? I just accepted it for what it was. And I feel like it's very telling that 2 weeks into him being on the main roster, he needs to describe a whole backstory about
Because
how
somebody
he
saw it,
oh,
somebody
was
noticed, somebody who can make him say this promo noticed that he wasn't wearing shoes and was
yes.
very distracted or, attracted to it.
Well,
Hmm.
with Rusev out of the company, he is the only one who wrestles barefoot. I think it might have just been simpler to say that he only owns pairs of flip-flops, and since they always seem to, they don't hold on, or the flip-flops don't stay on while he's wrestling, that's why he just lets them fly at the beginning of the match.
Yeah,
Why
just
don't he
I was in
say
NXT. I can't afford shoes.
why don't he say that
They
every
get-
time he woke up, sorry, every time he like becomes conscious from smoking too much weed, he lost both of his shoes. So eventually he just stops wearing shoes.
it was too expensive. He went through
Yeah,
so many shoes
exactly.
that I see.
Because you at least have to smoke twice a day, right? And every time you
I
wake
see.
up, it's just like shoes are gone. Can't find them.
Oh wow. Oh,
So,
wow, that's so unfortunate. So sandals are the more efficient option, you're
and,
saying.
and I
Yeah,
do believe
you can
that.
get a pair of 75-cent flip-flops at, like, your local Publix or something. Or if you're
Okay.
not from Florida, a grocery store like Price Right, or, what's the grocery store in Texas?
We got HEB. It's quite lovely.
H-E-B, Kroger, one of those. I know you guys have Buc-ee's, and I've been told that that is a destination I have to go to at least once in my
I
life.
mean, okay, I'll tell you this, right? Like, it's not a grocery store. It's like a
I know
big
it's a
ass gas
convenience
station.
store.
Yeah, like it's just they have a lot of candy, they have a lot of snacks, and they have some clothes and like a deli, and like it's nice in there. But if you're not from the South and like you're not crazy about country stuff, I don't see the appeal whatsoever.
I mean, I
The,
heard the cheese balls are good, and I heard that the bathrooms are pristine.
you know what? I've yet to check out the latrines, so I will get back to you on that. Okay.
Bucky's is literally famous for the bathrooms. How have you not
I,
been
d- I
into the bathrooms
I'm
of one of
so
them?
sorry. I didn't know this. I apologize. It won't happen again. I know the last
Literally,
time I was
Bucky's
there.
are known outside of Texas for having the cleanest bathrooms of any business in America.
I think you just might have an obsession with the bathrooms around this country, okay? And you're projecting on me, Sam.
Just
I
like
think that's
how
what
Do you
this
think
is.
somebody was
do you think
into
I've read
Matt
into
Riddle's
this?
feet, Sam.
Yes. That's right. So
I
I was saying
explain
last
away
time I
Matt
was in,
Riddle's feet, but I'm obsessed with trying to figure out the cleanliness of the Bucky's bathroom.
last time I was in
Oh,
Bucky's, I saw these button-up T-shirts. Not T-shirts, they're dress shirts. They're like fancy shirts, and they were wrestling. There was Stone Cold doing a stunner all over this button-up T-shirt, and it was great. Okay, that's the
okay.
end of the story.
And also
Continue.
I need a photo of that.
I also need to inform you guys that Rusev no longer wear a shoe ever since he got into the main roster, or at least in the most recent years, he has not
Yeah,
been
he
barefoot.
stopped when he became like handsome Rusev.
Yeah,
But I have the figure. I have the action figure to prove that at one point
but
on the main roster,
the
his
feet
feet
is
were
not
very bare,
bare. There was wraps.
but not around the
Yeah,
whole
that's
feet.
true.
Yes,
No, just to protect the souls.
but Matt Riddle was the
Yeah.
first person to give them the naked feet experience.
Oh
So of course
shit! Wow.
they were very distracted by it.
Wow. Well, I can't wait to tune in this Friday for another naked feet experience, as it were. But also, Matt Riddle had a match with John Morrison on that show later in the night, and it was so good. If you guys haven't seen that, like check out the highlights at least, because that match was so sick.
John Morrison is so good.
Yes, he is. But guys, that is all I have in the way of news stories for Raw and SmackDown this past week, and I figure we might want to move on to the past 2 weeks of both Fyter Fest for AEW and the Great American Bash for NXT. How do you feel about that?
I That's the only things I've ever watched. Like I don't ever watch anything for this show, and
Yes,
these 2 weeks I watched both shows of both nights.
that is incredible.
Yeah.
That is incredible, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it because now we will be able to have a real conversation about these wrestling matches, which is such a novel concept for a
Yeah.
radio show.
I'm not editing
So,
anything this week.
oh, good.
Damn it.
So I am gonna. What show do we want to go over first? Do we want to do it like week one and then week
Yeah,
two for
let's
each
do that.
show, or
AEW
let's do that? Okay,
NXT and AEW NXT. Let's do
perfect.
that.
Sounds
Okay.
good. So let's go to night one of Fyter Fest, which took place again just a couple weeks ago on AEW TNT. What would usually be the time slot for Dynamite, and it started off hot with a match that like I went into it being really excited, but then actually seeing it went so well. It was the tag team match between Jurassic Express and MJF and Wardlow, and I it was just a really fun match and like a really great way to start the show. Yeah, I really feel like that's all I have to say about it.
It was
No,
great.
no, it was fun.
And I don't know if it was because Luchasaurus had like was working with Wardlow, because usually like Luchasaurus does a lot of like athletic kicking things, but they don't look
Yeah.
particularly stiff or like impactful. But with Wardlow, I don't know if they talked backstage or something. They just went full in. They went all in, brother. And all of
Yeah.
Luchasaurus hits look like Aleister Black hits, which
Yeah, they were brutal.
Yeah.
Like I've seen Luchasaurus before AEW a couple times at Wrestle Circus, right? And one of the matches was with John Morrison, and they're best friends in real life, so the match was incredible. And like I until AEW started on Dynamite back in like October of last year, I thought he was like this super hard hitting.
Hello?
Did we just lose JC?
Oh no.
Oh no.
That's staying in. However long this is.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to Main Stage Wrestling, not on WERW Real College Radio, but on YouTube. If I guess this is the end of the episode.
I'm
Oh,
really
he's back.
really happy that I'm not the one recording. I'm on my phone right now, guys.
What
My
happened?
computer died.
Oh.
My charger does the thing where it just stops working occasionally, and so it decided to do that. So that's nice.
Your audio sounds great.
Oh, thank you.
I was just transitioning us out of the show.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
I was about to be like, if that's the length of the show, that I can still do editing. You know?
Okay. Yeah. Do you guys want me to get back on, or is this the end of the show?
Just keep
I
going.
want-
Just keep talking about what you were talking about. You were talking about how you thought he was
Honestly,
a super
I
hard-hitting
want-
guy.
Honestly, I want you back, but that was also the perfect end to the show.
Okay. I see.
That was on brand. That was on brand.
It was. It
We
really
might need to
was.
do maybe we should do a part 1 and part 2.
I see.
Yeah, we'll continue this tomorrow evening at 8, okay?
Oh, what was I saying? About Luchasaurus. Basically, I had always known him to just be like this really hard-hitting big guy who can do really athletic stuff.
Yeah.
And then when AEW started up, like, I didn't really see that from him as much. Like, it was a lot more of that sort of less hard-hitting, like, more flippy, floaty stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, floaty wrestling
And so-
Sam's least favorite.
Yeah, but I mean, I still love Luchasaurus. He's one of my favorites. My
Yeah, dude,
computer
sure.
is my computer's back up and running, so I'm gonna switch over to that. I'll be right back.
Okay. And guys,
Okay.
that was WERW Real College Radio Wrestling Podcast. It's been nice
That was
broadcasting for you
That-
guys. See you next
Yeah,
time.
Thank you
I'm-
very much.
Oh,
Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Goodbye,
I-
everybody.
goodbye.
Oh,
Goodbye, everybody.
it's. Oh,
Hello, JC.
hi.
Hi, we're in the Ely hours.
Wow.
I
feel
can't
like
do
we've
your
been-
catchphrase as well as you do your catchphrase.
What is my catchphrase?
Goodbye, everybody.
You always say
Oh.
hello, everybody, and goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. Is that it?
Yeah, that's one. of them.
Oh, okay. Did I end the show by saying that, or are we?
Every time.
Yeah, we're off the air.
Oh shit.
This is
Well, then we
dark.
can just. This is dark.
Yeah, this is
Oh, I see. We're in the
main
dark
stage
hour.
wrestling dark.
Wow. Wow.
We're on Main Stage Wrestling Superstars now.
That's right. That's right. Well, two of the biggest superstars in AEW went head to head for the women's championship as Hikaru Shida defended her title against Penelope Ford in a match
Are
that
you
was
going
way
to eat
better
your
than I
words?
ever expected it to be. Yeah,
I-
no, that match was really good.
I love this
I
match,
enjoyed it
yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. I like
really good.
I like the Penelope Ford's offense. Like she didn't show a lot, I think was the problem. She just didn't seem to do a lot. Like she's obviously very athletic, but during her matches, I don't know if she was trying to like do more as a heel by like doing less. And I always had a problem with that mentality, which was, oh, now I'm a heel, so I cannot do the actually impressive things that I have in my repertoire because I want to get heat. And I always thought that was like choosing to do less. Like you can still do impressive stuff and be a heel, especially nowadays. You know?
No, I think you can do impressive stuff. It just becomes you're a show off a heel. You're I'm that good and I know it.
And also, JR keeps saying, wow, look at Shida with that $1 million knee lift. Like, I'm sure AEW audiences have like 90% of them watch like at least 100 hours of $1 Million Man matches to get that reference, you know?
Did you by chance a couple weeks ago on Dynamite catch where he called it the $1,000,000 knee lift?
That's much less than $1 million.
Yeah, that's worth a lot less.
That's barely anything.
That's about
unfortunate.
10,000.
It's one.
Oh, no.
It's like 1/100, so that would be only.
My understanding is you move the decimal place, or you move the decimal 2 places to the left to
Yeah.
convert from yen to dollars. So
So
that's about $10,000.
yeah, I mean, if my knee hits you and it generates $10,000, like I'm not still not complaining,
Shit, keep
but
hitting me with your knee then.
Yeah,
exactly,
man.
we'll split it. But I love that.
No, that's not fair. If he's getting hit with your knee, he should get way more.
Yeah, it should be at least 70/30.
Okay, I'm still fine
I'm
with
gonna have
that.
hospital bills.
I'm still fine with
Well,
that.
actually,
True.
we don't know how hard you have to be hit with the knee to generate $10,000.
You need to be hit as hard as Sheeta's hitting Penelope in this match, which was
Okay,
pretty
I'll tell you
hard.
what. I'll hold out my hand then, and then you can just go after my hand, and I don't know.
Wow.
That should be less damaging.
Maybe it's more if you sell it like it's more painful.
I see. I see. So it's a
I can
cooperative
sell.
effort. I see.
Almost like
I see.
something else, almost like wrestling, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so the wrestling match between Sheeta and Ford was real good. Like I went into it not being the most positive because I haven't seen the greatest stuff from Penelope so far in AEW. But this match completely changed my opinion. We mentioned last week that it was going to be a sink or swim scenario, and I think it was, and she swam, and it was really cool.
And it was at
So-
this point that I noticed what Chris Jericho's catchphrase as a announcer is.
Shut your ass.
No,
What's
he
his
says
catchphrase?
Sheeta, she's going on top. What a show off. And like he says that about like everything. Everybody doing everything,
Uh-huh.
anything. If somebody does something, Chris Jericho's like, what a show off.
Nice, just a big Dolph Ziggler mark. I get it. You know, he's
Yeah.
excited for Extreme Rules horror show, as we all are.
Mm-hmm.
So a match that I also wasn't excited for was Cody versus Jake Hager. Cody, of course, accompanied by one Arn Anderson. Jake Hager by his wife Catalina. And this match sucked, as I thought. I know you have a different opinion, Tiger. I know you enjoyed it. But I was watching the show live at the time. The whole show had been so exciting up to that point. That tag team match to start the show was so fun. Sheeta versus Ford had me super invested. And then Cody and Jake just killed all my excitement. And like, I can't be like, oh, they let me down. Like, it was disappointing. It was like, no, I knew what it was going to be going in. My expectations weren't high. So it's whatever. But Jake Hager should only be in tag team matches, and never should he have a singles pay-per-view match.
You said that
Okay.
about Dustin the other day.
This is true. Their match at the last pay-per-view sucked so much, Dustin and Jake Hager.
Well,
They
then
were
maybe it was on Jake Hager and not Dustin, because Dustin is great.
okay, fair enough. Then I retract all negativity towards Dustin, and I redirect it towards Jake Hager, and he needs to be in, like, put him in a tag team with Sammy when he comes back, you know? And then that could actually work. Ugh. But how did you guys feel about the Cody match?
I didn't think it was that bad, honestly. Is that crazy that I didn't think it was that bad?
Yeah.
I actually thought that they were gonna go for more amateur wrestling stuff, which I would have enjoyed. But they didn't, and I think Cody no longer, even though they kept bringing up, like, oh, Cody was a all-American wrestler. Like, I think Cody no longer knows how to amateur wrestle. Like, I think that's just what happened, because he's never
Well, I
displayed.
think it's also. Have you ever watched actual amateur wrestling? It is not. It does not make for the most exciting professional wrestling.
Oh no, certainly not. But I think what they can
No,
do
you get
is
a lot of scrambles, but then once the scrambles are great, but after the scrambles, then it's mostly just like rear waist locks and stuff.
yeah, but they can do like a dramatized version of real wrestling, like in like shoot wrestling is not actual shoot wrestling. It's a fast paced dramatized version of MMA, right? I was just thinking that like all those Kurt Angle and Ciampa matches they had back in the day. They could have at least done something of that, which would have been cool. but they didn't. But despite that, I still enjoyed it because I was rooting for Cody, and Cody did a reversal in the end. He reversed the triangle choke into a pin, and
Yeah, it's
Cody.
dumb. Like the finish, you just did the exact same finish with Darby 2 weeks ago.
No,
like-
but Cody was holding Darby down, right?
Like, I mean, it's the same thing in theory. It's not that yes, they were different scenarios, but in both cases, the person thought they were winning, and then oh no, Cody was actually pinning him. Like, we just did this. And then also this week on Fyter Fest, sorry, we have Darby Allin in one of the lamest videos ever on top of like a platform, and he's like, "I'm up here in the forest, and I'm gonna practice my coffin drop," and then he falls down into a foam of like a pit of foam. It was why? You're making this guy not cool. I can jump into a foam pit. I'm not putting it on national TV.
Did you like this better than when Jeff Hardy did the swanton into like a chicken coop?
I'd have to rewatch said swanton on the chicken coop, but I'm sure it was beautiful. So Tiger, I don't know how you liked the match. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you derived some joy from it. But
it might be because maybe I just didn't mind it. Like I maybe I just went in with like I gotta hate this, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, I didn't hate it. It's fine.
That's fair. Okay. Well, then the next match on the card saw Private Party, the team of Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, go against the Inner Circles, Santana and Ortiz, who are no longer going by Proud and Powerful, which is weird. And who won? Private Party won, and it was a fun match. I don't remember all that much from it. It was a couple weeks ago, but I don't remember it being bad. So we can move on to the main event, another tag match where the defending champions Kenny Omega and Adam Page took on the best friends Chuck Taylor and Trent, and the
greatest entrance of the year.
Yeah, that's true. Trent's mom drove them out to the ring. It was very wholesome, very nice, and they lost. So,
well,
it felt pretty quick, the match, honestly. I don't think it was bad. I just think for a main event, it didn't feel that climactic.
It's not a good thing when the entrance overshadows the match itself.
Yeah.
Like, I like the best friends, don't get me wrong, they're great. But I really don't remember much from this.
But AEW does so much with their like entrance, especially with like the more quirkier characters. So it's hard for, if the match is only average, then it's hard for you to be impressed by both the match and the entrance, you know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I can't blame AEW for trying to go all out with the entrances, because let's face it, they still don't have the name brand value of WWE. I've brought up AEW with other people, and they just refer to they refer to AEW as WWE because it's all they know.
They're so like, is that WWE? Yeah.
Yeah. So, or more like, I was like, I watched AEW Dynamite, and they were like, I'm not really a WWE person. Like,
yeah,
like that's just their name for professional wrestling. So you have to go all out with these character building things, because it's what's going to get you recognition in the mainstream and build up your brand recognition. You know, people who are not invested in the show itself, who are not already wrestling fans, aren't really caring about the quality of the match. They're caring about the stuff that's going to make them the quick hits that'll keep them entertained.
Yeah, like memes, you know?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm trying to go through my book. It's called How to Read Literature Like a Professor, a lively and entertaining guide to reading between the lines. And because I remembered, it struck me in the middle of that conversation that this is the book I learned about Jesus being blind. And so I'd like some sort of clarification.
So the previous timeline in which you were instructed by a teacher that Jesus was blind, that was no longer true.
I think that was also true. It was that same teacher who assigned this book, so I don't think I lied quite
Maybe
yet.
she got her information, or he got his information from this book.
Maybe,
Maybe they got
maybe.
their information from Jesus.
Oh,
Oedipus blinded himself. That's not Jesus, though.
No, and that
Um,
was kind of messed up.
yeah, because
yeah.
because he found out that he fucked his own mom.
Yeah, he was a motherfucker.
I mean, but you do what you do. You got to
No,
live with the
but
decision you
in
make.
all honesty, his mom had a necklace that makes her young forever. So she looked like
I
she's
guess
like
so
a.
who wouldn't wanna to do that? I know
But he
it's really
didn't
tough.
know he was raised away from
Okay,
his
calm
family.
down, Freud.
Oh, I just read a whole book about Freud. It was disturbing.
Really?
It's
Uh,
amazing how like a good 85% of what he said was wrong.
yeah, I mean, that's all psychology. 100% of psychology is just
Wow.
wrong.
Saying that to a
But
psychology major now?
saying that as a psychology major, saying that as
Oh,
a
that's
person
true.
who
That's
wants to
true.
become a therapist, yes, I think psychoanalysis is like it's not based on anything. It's
Wait,
No,
wait,
just
no.
are you a
Psychoanalysis.
psych major?
me.
Who's a psych
Or
major?
Me.
we're both psych majors.
Are you a
He
dual
double
major?
major, yeah.
Yeah, I'm dual with psych
Oh,
and broadcasting, and then hopefully I can go to grad school for like therapy and then work in radio in the meantime. That's the plan.
There's
oh.
more than
Also,
one
good
psych
news.
major
I
here.
finished my minor last week.
Oh, really?
Hey,
Nice,
that's
nice.
in
Yeah,
political
Congrats.
science,
political
right?
science in the pocket.
Nice.
Noise. So, I mean, this book is really telling me it's about Oedipus and then the character from Waiting for Godot, which is a really good book, by the way.
Okay.
It's a
Um,
play, isn't it?
I mean, yes, but we read it as a book in that same class.
Hmm.
I don't know. Please observe that in most works where blindness is manifested, the writer brings it up pretty easily. I call this Indiana Jones principle. If you want your audience to know something important about a character, introduce it early before you need it. Great. So that's our bit of wisdom. I'm putting my book away.
But isn't
Um,
that like writing 101?
I mean, the book is writing 101. It's like just,
Oh,
hey, this
okay.
is how books are made. And God, we're seniors in high school when we read it.
It feels
So
kind of similar to the Chekhov's gun principle.
I don't know what that
Chekhov's
is. I will
Chekhov's
take
gun
your word for it.
says if you describe something in a scene, you better use it later.
Hmm.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. That's the
yeah.
exact opposite of the approach WWE takes to everything.
Hmm.
That's it's
So
unfortunate.
like, the idea is like if you show a gun in the background
Mhm.
of a show or a movie or something, you better use that gun at some point
Yeah,
in the movie.
yeah.
Well,
I mean, I
uh,
like the idea though that you just fill a movie up or like a piece of media up with a ton of that stuff, and then you use some of it,
Well,
right?
I think it's more for books because you can be selective in what you describe.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's like
Yeah.
you wouldn't describe that there's a gun in the room if the gun
Yeah.
never gets used.
It's a lot easier in a TV show or movie just to have it there and have it never come
Yeah.
back.
I
But
love
a book
like
it has to be very deliberate.
horror movies where like there's all these like set pieces. Like if like a horror film happens like at a cabin or something, like I want the characters to use all of the equipment they can find like on this scene to like do something. You know
Have you
that?
guys watched that CM Punk horror movie yet or no?
No, is it bad?
It's
I
on
am
Netflix.
I am not a horror movie person. I don't like being scared.
Aren't you
Nor
a
am I.
big CM Punk fan? So you should already watch it, right?
Me?
JC's the CM Punk fan.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am.
No, I know. I was just saying that he should have already watched it, right?
Oh yeah, no, I did. I hate horror movies. They do terrible things to me in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a much bigger fan of CM Punk than I am a coward, and so I mean that's debatable. But I did watch it and I did get through it, but it was rough. Like
But
I'm sure it was like a fine movie. It was like an independent film. I don't have any other horror movies to compare it to really, because I've only watched like two others in my whole life, and so I mean it was interesting, but I would never watch it again.
Well, I mean, what kind of horror are we talking? Was it like a slasher? Was it a psychological horror?
A bit of psychological. It's basically he is moving to the suburbs, right? He's a scumbag. He cheats on his wife. He's a terrible person, but he's like looking to get away, get to the suburbs, and finally start anew with his wife. And when he's there, he meets this woman who keeps showing up to his house every night and seducts him, and then they have sex. Turns out the woman he had sex with is actually a ghost who haunts the house because she used to be a prostitute, because it used to be a brothel. And so he's there by himself trying to get the house repaired, and then she haunts him, and then he has a friend come over to help him build the house. She murders his friend. He gets murdered eventually, and then his wife has to basically dispose of the dead prostitute's body. Fun stuff.
Sounds like a season of American Horror Story.
Just wrapped up into an hour and a
Yeah,
half.
yeah. Because like American Horror Story is
Fucker starring CM Punk.
This is right.
like I really don't like American Horror Story because it's like soap opera but with ghosts. You know?
Well, we watch soap opera, but with men in underwear beating each other up.
But this is more honest about what it is than American Horror Story. Maybe it's
I'm
not.
sorry. I'm back to. Okay, guys. I found a list of things to if you're Christ or not. Okay, if you're supposed to be like Jesus. Can I read this to you?
Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Sure.
It's a list of
Or I
8
feel like it's better if we find someone to compare this to.
Okay.
Seth Rollins.
Let's just do the Monday Night Messiah. Yeah, right.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, great.
Is Seth Rollins like Jesus? All right, read us the list.
Okay. So number 1, you will be crucified so you would have wounds in the hands, feet, side, or head.
Oh,
So-
is that why he's wearing the single glove?
Oh, covering up those holes, though, that stigmata. That
Does
could be.
crucified by social media count?
Ooh, also true. Also true. Wow, so it was deliberate the whole time. Then number 2 on the list is he must be in agony, which, sure, yeah. when
He
you
was.
wrestle-
All
Remember-
wrestlers are.
He's tortured
Yeah,
over what he's about to do to Rey Mysterio. Remember that?
Yeah.
He's definitely
Yeah,
in
I think so.
agony.
And number 3, you're self-sacrificing. You know, he gives up his body every week for the fans. You know, he's putting it all on the line. He's I think he's self-sacrificing, right? Is
I
this
mean,
fair?
he's about to become a father. That counts as self-sacrifice.
Well, that brings me to the next thing, which is that you're good with children. And you know what? He wouldn't have a kid if he's bad with them, right?
I feel like that's a lie.
Also good with loaves, fishes, water, and wine. Huh. I'd probably
do we
seen him
have
drink
any?
water.
We do have him as one of the butchers in Southpaw Regional Wrestling.
Yeah, man. I'm sure he's cut up a couple fishes. So there we go.
Yeah, there we go. We
33
probably
years of
got one.
age. 33 years of age. How old is Seth Rollins?
Somewhere around there, I think. I'm googling
Let's
it
see,
right now.
Seth-
Hold on.
34 years old.
God.
Holy-
Wow.
I think.
Wow. So I think
Wow.
I
I
think
think
it
we're onto
works.
something, guys.
I think it works.
Number 7 is that he's employed as a carpenter. Maybe that one's we pass on. Known to
I
use
gotta think of
humble
a way to.
modes.
I gotta think
Oh,
of a
okay,
way to be able to bring that in somehow.
Okay,
He is an
let's see.
architect.
Oh my God, he is an architect. Very similar. You're both working
Very
with
similar.
wood.
He's still working with wood and building houses.
Yep. Also, he's known to use humble modes of transportation, often his feet or a donkey. He does walk. I've seen him walk.
We've seen him walk.
So, I think that works. Let's see. Also believed to have walked on water.
That we cannot prove or know. But
He's
if you
probably walked like through a puddle at one point in his life.
Probably.
if you
I
get
can't
that,
confirm that.
baseball guy over, and if he can get Seth Rollins to walk on his pool, then I think we can finally confirm something.
I think so. So that one's yet to be determined.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but we'll find out
Yeah.
soon.
Is that guy still
often-
alive?
But I mean, he's got
portrayed-
everything else qualified.
Yes. Yes.
Sam,
So
Sam,
often portrayed. Oh,
is that guy
Yes,
still
you're saying?
alive?
Yeah, he's
Oh.
Lou Pinella. He's now a manager.
Okay, so we need
ooh,
to get him.
we got to get him on the show. So also
God, I
number
would love
10,
to talk to Lou Pinella.
on main stage wrestling. Hell yeah, we could only talk to him about Seth Rollins being Jesus.
That's true,
That
though.
would
We
be
can only
the only
talk to him about
possible
wrestling.
Yes. Often portrayed with his arms outstretched, which yeah, that's his
Yes.
new pose.
Bang,
That works.
done.
There we go.
Let's see. Known
Does
to
that
have
mean that
spent
this could
time-
also? Does that mean this could also apply to Okada, though?
And Randy
Oh.
Orton.
We can go through the
Ooh,
list
and
again next
Randy.
week. Every week we'll go
Mike
through the list
Knox.
of new wrestler to find out if they're Jesus.
Mike
You know?
Knox. Yes, we will do that. Definitely. New
Thank
segment.
you. Thank you. Known to have spent time alone in the wilderness. He's from Davenport, Iowa, which is like a
That's
bumfuck
pretty alone
town.
in the wilderness.
Yeah, right. I think we got that one. Believed to have had a confrontation with the devil, possibly tempted.
Bray
He
Wyatt,
fought
the
the
Fiend,
Fiend,
Hell in
yeah.
a Cell.
Yeah. Also, he used to be in the Authority. Like he directly answered to Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. Because that would be him being tempted. Last seen in the company of thieves. Has Buddy Murphy ever stolen something?
He stole the Cruiserweight title.
He stole,
Okay.
He stole
There you
Shuji
go.
Kondo's finisher, the Well Hunt.
That's true.
He also stole Kenny Omega's V trigger.
He stole that
And then
many times. But he's so
we have
good at it.
creator of many aphorisms and parables. You know, he references the Bible from time to time.
Well, no, creator, as in, like, he creates, he has catchphrases. He has things that people quote of him. He has his laugh. He has John.
He does have his laugh. That's true.
John.
Burn it down.
Uh-huh.
He has fuck,
I
the
I
most
I
nicknames.
didn't sell out. I bought in.
That's right. Iconic. Can't forget that.
I thought Jeff Jarrett said that first.
Number 15, buried but arose on the third day. Has Seth Rollins ever been in a buried alive match?
Has he ever been buried by WWE?
Oh, the Shield was at one point.
Yeah,
So sure.
when they injured the Undertaker.
Had disciples, 12 at first, although not all equally devoted. AOP is left, Austin Theory's left, but all of them were
Buddy?
disciples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened to
Buddy's
Austin
still there.
Theory?
I don't know. They haven't explained why he's gone. I know there were more allegations about the speaking out stuff against him, so I don't know if that's it.
Okay.
But they haven't explained it.
Wait,
But,
doesn't he have somebody else now? Other than Buddy Murphy? New guy?
Yeah, it was Austin Theory.
Other than Austin Theory?
I mean, hopefully Dominic soon, but not yet.
Maybe even Garza? Now that
Maybe.
Garza and
I mean,
Andrade.
he's hanging out with Angel and Andrade, but it's not like an official thing.
Oh, okay.
But number 17 is that he's very forgiving, which, yeah, he just forgave Kevin Owens on Raw this past week and was like, you know what happened at WrestleMania happened. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 18 came to redeem an unworthy world, and
Definitely.
So I
don't
think
think
this
that needs
all
proof.
goes
But
to show Seth Rollins is Jesus incarnate.
Seth Rollins is Jesus.
Yeah, cool.
next week
probably
we'll do
figure
CM
it out.
Punk. Next week we're gonna do CM Punk.
Okay, that works.
Or
wine
Okada.
drinking might be a problem, but let's see. Let's go ahead and look at the first night of the Great American Bash, guys.
Oh man,
Honestly,
this
I think this
episode
makes
is going places.
We are going
Honestly,
to.
I think this makes for a better show anyway, because like anyone can get the news and opinions on the news anywhere, but where else are you going to get "Is Seth Rollins Jesus?" a breakdown?
Nowhere, and that's what makes it so special, and that's why we will run the segment into the ground and do it every week from here on out. Spend about an hour doing it,
Mhm.
deep dives. This week was only abbreviated because it was so last minute, but we'll have again. I still have to write my Man in the Yellow Hat essay about Sam, but after I do that,
Yeah, you do owe me that.
Yes, we'll start doing full dissertations every week
Mhm.
on
I would love
Jesus
that.
comparisons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
have you ever seen John Wick, Sam?
I have not, but I really need to.
Okay, so there's a scene in which John Wick has like a little artifact.
Careful with spoilers here.
Okay, no, but it's no spoiler. But he had an artifact and he was holding it in his hand and he was bleeding, and he was very intensely telling this woman, "I am owned." So you're like holding the picture of the man in the yellow hat and like intensely talking to JC. It's like, "I am owned." This work of fiction.
Okay.
I'm
so,
glad everybody got that reference. Now that I
Great
explained
American
it.
Bash.
Yeah. Great American.
I'm gonna just For the rest of Fyter Fest and American Bash, I'm just gonna pick on the matches that I care about. Is that
Okay,
okay with you guys?
go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Timothy Thatcher versus Oni Lorcan.
I
It
loved
was
it.
a cool match. I like Oni. It happened. Timothy Thatcher killed him, but it was cool. I liked it.
It was
Rhea Ripley defeated Aaliyah and Robert Stone by submission.
okay.
And
Can I say something about this match?
yes, please do.
Okay, like this was a very sports entertaining match. It was not a very NXT match.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen a intergender NXT match. I don't think they've ever had one.
Mhm.
Correct me if I'm wrong. And I have
I
not
think you're
I
right.
have no problem with like intergender wrestling if it's booked like 50-50 like a competitive wrestling match. But this
Mhm.
was very like, oh, Smackdown, let's have a joke guy over and have everybody beat him, including the female competitors. And it just
Yeah.
didn't
I mean,
feel
I
like very compelling to me, I guess.
I mean, I enjoyed it. Maybe I'm a little biased because I like Robert Stone. I worked with him a couple of times. He ribbed me once,
I like Robert Stone as well. Like the stuff with Jersey Shore or whatever. I don't know.
Robbie E.
Robbie E.
and Robbie T.
All that stuff was great.
I've worked with Robbie T more than I've worked with Robbie E.
Okay.
I don't know what that says about my career.
Well, I know what it says about the future of the Robert Stone brand because Aaliyah and Robert Stone were unable to pull off the victory. And like you mentioned, Tiger, it was like just you sort of knew where the match was going and what it was from the start. But I didn't mind it. I think having Aaliyah as part of it helped the dynamic. It made it a bit more compelling than if it was just Robert Stone versus Rhea, because there was a chance like Aaliyah could have pulled an upset.
What
But
happened to Robert Stone and what's her face?
Chelsea,
Yeah,
she left him. She doesn't want him anymore.
but did she leave the company?
No, no, she's still there. She's
Oh,
hanging out, but she's outgrown the Robert Stone brand.
okay.
And so Robert Stone was originally neglecting Aaliyah, then Aaliyah neglected him, and then Aaliyah felt bad for him when he got thrown in a trash can. And then when someone gets thrown in a trash can, you become their client, and then it leads to this match.
I have to
And
say that Aaliyah is like now much better than she was
yeah,
before.
she's how can you not improve after like 10 years in the performance center? At some point
Eva
something has to
Marie.
start happening. Okay, this is true. I don't know how much time she spent at the PC though. Um,
Probably a fair
Also, I'll
amount.
be honest. After this Rhea Ripley match, I fell asleep, and so I missed all of Dexter Loomis versus Roderick Strong. I'm sure it was good though.
Oh,
It
it
was
was good.
I I didn't really like it. I like it the first at first when all what was happening was Dexter Loomis was Super Saiyan, and if he touches Roger Strong does the Shawn Michaels selling for Hulk Hogan sell, and it was great.
Well, because it's been established like he's got a phobia of Dexter Loomis. Now, once again, as regular viewers know, Dexter Loomis is not only my boy, he is like my ultra boy. So I am a little bit biased here.
I don't even know if he can count as a boy anymore because he's really good and like one of the top guys in NXT now.
He's a
No,
man.
he would. I would say he's at the very least. I retain him in his boyhood status because I attached him as a boy when he was a boy.
I see. It's grandfathered in. I get that.
He
I
has
get
been
that.
grandfathered in.
That's good. That's good. And then the main event of this first night of the Great American Bash saw Io Shirai defeat Sasha Banks in a singles match that I thought for sure was for the title. Apparently it wasn't. And the match ended up going that way with Io winning because Asuka came out, distracted Sasha.
But
Io,
Bailey came
and
out
which
first, and
yeah, it neutralized the influence of Bailey. And it was a really fun match. I was going in and out of sleep because I was very tired, but I did watch like, most of it. And from what I saw, these two did a really, really cool thing. They had a great match.
both Sasha and Io almost died at one point. So Sasha was trying to flip backwards out of a German suplex and landed on her head. And then later on, there was a spot in which she was caught in a powerbomb position on the outside and first powerbombed into the like the transparent wall, and then just like dropped right on the floor.
and was brutal. I mean, Sasha gets killed in all her matches, so
That's
it's
true.
par for
It's
the
part of her
course.
charm.
Yes, yes, indeed. So let's move on back to Fyter Fest, but from this past Wednesday on TNT, where the match had a lot of stuff going on. It didn't feel as organized and as sort of big a deal as the first week felt, and I think that goes for both shows, just based off the cards. Um, the show started out with a tag match for the titles, Private Party versus Hangman and Kenny. Again, I don't think this match was that remarkable. Like it happened, and I think the finish was cool. Like I think it was Isaiah Cassidy got murdered by that buckshot V trigger.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it was like cool. It happened.
I think
Fun
that
match.
you said that you didn't like it at first, so now I think that the trick is they can't hit at the same time, and the person just can't sell. Like if the person get hit from the front and the back at the same time, then they just can't
Yeah,
sell. So in this one, he got hit by the V trigger first, and then he got hit by the lariat. So it looks like he got hit twice, and it was more brutal this way.
I
So
just want the people to look like they're dying. Their life is leaving them. That's what I want out of
Yeah.
wrestling. And I think I got some of that in the next match, which was Lance Archer defeating Joey Janela.
Yeah.
It was a fun match. Like I don't get why it was on the show, but it was cool. I liked it.
Because
It
everybody
went,
dies.
it went longer than I expected, right? Like 11 minutes is a long time for those two, but it was cool. Next up was the Butcher, the Blade, and the Lucha Brothers defeating the team of FTR and the Young Bucks in my favorite match. Well, oh, that's tough. One of my favorite matches on the show. One of my favorite matches of all the Fyter Fest. Because I went in being like, this match is going to be insane. I watched it. It was insane.
it was insane.
And
It was insane.
It was insane.
I,
There was
I
a
thoroughly enjoyed
Canadian destroyer to the outside of the ring. I just want to say
A
that.
Tope Con Canadian destroyer.
Phoenix almost missed them and just did it like straight to the ground. Like he almost flew over all of them. It was ridiculous. That would have.
We have to start asking at this point, was that peak destroyer? Where can you go from there?
Johnny's springboard Canadian destroyer.
Yes, I think that's still too innovative. We're not there yet. We're not ready as a society.
Future
But
wrestling.
we'll get. Yeah. Then.
Double
Colt
rotation
Cabana-
destroyer.
Also, I was surprised by the finish there with the Lucha Brothers getting the pin on. Was it? I don't remember who got pinned actually. Was it Cash Wheel?
one of the Young Bucks, I think.
Oh, okay. I'm way off then. But one of the Lucha Brothers got the pin, and I was surprised, but I'm happy for
Yeah,
it.
one of the Young Bucks got hit with the grossest looking move I've seen in recent history. The
Gross in a good way or a bad way?
in a good way, the LB driver. Okay, that name sucks because they're the Lucha Brothers, and that's the LB driver. That sucks ass.
That's rough.
But it was like a assisted, double underhook pile driver.
Oh, okay. I can picture it in my head. Yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah.
that?
I mean, I don't know. I like the whole match. I thought the
Yeah.
whole match was cool. I was
And-
surprised by the finish. I was happy with it though, and I'm excited to see all these like 2-on-2 matches. Like I want to see Penta and Phoenix versus FTR,
Yeah,
and FTR versus the Young Bucks, and all that.
I also like the in the middle when they were helping each other, like the Young Buck, like one of the Young Buck and one of the FDR is doing tag moves together.
Yeah,
Like,
they
all that
did
stuff
really
was
well
great,
with
yeah.
functioning as a team. I think that was really cool and unexpected. Like that, like it's gonna help go in a different direction than I thought we were getting with the story, which I think they've been making a concerted effort to do with the Bucks and FTR, which is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been asking for this match for years, so at this point, you don't just want to give us the match immediately. Go on, give us a story with it.
Yeah, milk
They
it
better
dry.
be saving it. They better be saving it for when we have arenas at least like filled to some capacity, because I just
That's true.
like
That
you can't
needs
wait
a
on
crowd.
everything, but like I'll tell you, the main event on this show, it was cool and I liked it, but it really needed a crowd. When it was Chris Jericho going against Orange Cassidy, the match was super cool. I loved it. I think the two of them did a great job. But what was it, Tiger?
Before you talk about that, can we talk about Taz and the FTW championship?
You're right. That was at the
Yes.
beginning of the show.
That was like the highlight of the show for me.
You have free reign to do as you wish, Tiger.
Well, when Shane Douglas, it all started when Shane Douglas threw away the Eastern Championship Wrestling belt and said all of the people who had this belt can all kiss my ass. And they rebranded to ECW Extreme Championship Wrestling. When Shane Douglas went to WWF and got nowhere and then came back, he started a stable called the Triple Threat with Chris Candido and, of course, Undertaker.
I don't think we have to go back this far.
Oh, sorry. Basically, Shane Douglas was injured as world champion, and he refuses to defend the belt, and they can't make him relinquish it because he was injured, legitimately. So Taz, who was feuding with him at the time, came up with his own championship, the Fuck the World Championship, and declared himself the champion and defended it as if it were the ECW World Heavyweight Championship for a while. And that was it.
Well, then also Taz lost it to Sabu at one point, then Taz won it back. But even though it wasn't sanctioned by ECW, the competitors treated it like a legitimate championship.
Mm-hmm.
So even though no one in ECW said that we're going to allow FTW championship matches or recognize it as an official ECW championship, it has prestige, it has a lineage. Good people fought because they wanted that belt.
I just personally
Also,
think
where
that
is JC?
I'm watching a video from Dynamite a few weeks ago where Taz gets angry and comes out of his trailer yelling at John Moxley. I got caught up. I'm sorry.
You are distracted. You are watching videos as we're in the middle of filming or recording this radio show.
we're talking about
Well, okay, I'll tell you.
FTW Championship. What's not to like?
I understand. And it's related. It's related. Taz inspired me because I wanted to reference the moment when Taz emerges from said trailer, but I forgot what he said. So I was like, God damn it, what did he say? And then it got stuck in my head. I couldn't pay attention to what you guys were saying, so I wanted to go hear it. And then I was watching it, and that was a real bad segment, but it was great.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like the FTW Championship was way ahead of its time, because FTW sounds like a fake federation that somebody in Fire Pro came up with.
The line I was looking for was just, I was sitting in my trailer and I heard you chirp, 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 which wasn't as good as I remember it.
And then John Moxley goes, "You say that I chirp, 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 but I think that you're chirping as well."
Wow.
That's the level of promo that he's been delivering.
I know, that 20 years of experience, it's really coming in handy.
And it's really amazing considering how incredible Taz has been on the mic recently. He's been killing it.
Taz had his own radio show. He's a broadcaster. He's got his stuff together as far as speaking goes.
I refuse to.
Even back in ECW, it was a really good promo.
Yeah. We were getting away from Fyter Fest, right? Well, I mean, not
Orange Cassidy versus Jericho.
Yes. Also, Colt Cabana and the Dark Order is still a story going on too.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
Cabana had this nasty ass hematoma or whatever it's called on the side of his body.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's real according to wrestling journalists. So that's gross.
So it's probably not real.
Yeah. But basically, Mr. Brody Lee was like, "Hey, Colt, I know you're hurting, but you're gonna have to fight tonight." And so Colt was hesitant, but he conceded. The three of them got together for a 6-man tag team match against SCU alongside Stu Grayson, and they ended up winning. And then they gave Colt Cabana the opportunity to get the pin again. And I am intrigued as to what is happening here.
Can I say that Stu Grayson was the highlight of this match for me?
Yeah, he was really good. He looks way too similar to the Blade, but I thought he was good. He's really quick.
Yeah.
I don't know. His quickness is... I don't know who else is there.
I want to see him and Evil Uno versus the Lucha Brothers.
That'd be sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as Cabana and the Dark Order goes, I wonder how long it lasts before Cabana just goes back to being himself, right? But I would be very okay with him just becoming one of the numbers. It'd be cool. But that brings us to our main event of the evening, as we mentioned earlier, with Les Champions taking on Orange Cassidy, freshly squeezed.
Can I make a prediction?
Oh, what is your prediction?
If Colt Cabana becomes one of the numbers, I all but guarantee he's going to choose number 18.
Number 18. Why is this?
Because Colt Cabana is very proud of the fact that he is Jewish, and
Oh.
18 is the most significant number in the Hebrew language.
So what we can does the Jewish religion, Sam, and this question is not asked out of disrespect, is there a Jesus equivalent?
There is not, and actually,
Oh.
I'm glad that you asked because I've spent a lot of time explaining Judaism to people who aren't Jewish. It's fine. Judaism is very much against the idea of quote-unquote false idols. The whole thing is there is God and there is only God, and you're not supposed to worship anyone else. It's stressed in later rabbinic teachings that Moses, when he was buried in a location that no one would know of, so that people could not use his grave as a rallying site to worship Moses like people later worship Jesus.
Yeah. Huh. Because I was going to say we could do like our comparison for Seth Rollins to Jesus, one of those for Colt Cabana, but we'd have to go the God route, I think, which I don't know.
I don't
feel
think
like
we can compare, no.
we can't. Okay, that's unfortunate.
Although, like, I once asked one of my rabbis, because I've belonged to several congregations at different points. I once asked him, what is the official Jewish stance on Jesus?
Mhm.
And he said, Jesus, he was a nice Jewish boy. He was a mensch, which is Yiddish for a gentleman. He was a nice Jewish boy, he just wasn't the son of God. He didn't perform miracles.
For Jesus, still making the most out of life, right? May have been a bit delusional, but having fun.
Yeah, he was a nice Jewish boy.
Really nice. And so was Colt Cabana at the end of the day. So I hope he sees the light and gets out of the Dark Order.
But he did get a win, though.
I need more nice Jewish boys in wrestling.
I don't believe either Chris Jericho or Orange Cassidy are Jewish, but I've yet to ask either of them. Okay.
They are not.
Well, have you asked either of them?
I am pretty sure Chris Jericho isn't, by the tattoos.
Okay.
Then again, Goldberg has a tattoo. And he's very Jewish.
Okay. Oh, that's true. How does he reconcile that? Also, I learned Goldberg lives like half an hour away from me now. Goldberg and Michael Cole live like very close to my home, and it's really disconcerting. I've yet to see either of them.
You would think that you would have already ran into them by now.
Yes. I mean, yes. This is Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. The match happened. It was a very fun match. I wish there was a crowd. Orange Cassidy does better when there's a crowd and they're not paid to cheer for him. It's very weird when they are because the irony is.
Has at any point in this match you thought Orange Cassidy was going to actually win?
He did a roll up at one point, and I thought, "Oh, is he going to win?" And then he didn't. But it wasn't like I kept biting. I don't remember there being a bunch of false finishes.
There was a bunch of roll ups, and I think those are false finishes for Orange Cassidy.
I wouldn't say that. I mean,
So,
the building to the Superman punch is his finisher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird because I thought his finisher was the full off of the turnbuckle onto somebody.
Oh, the lazy 450. Yeah. I with the end of the match, Jericho ended up winning with the Jews effect, like out of nowhere, right?
And I call it the Jews effect.
The Judas effect. I may have called it the Jews effect, but that was entirely.
You just called it the Jews effect.
Okay, well then that's its new name. So he hits the Jews effect out of nowhere, and I get the thinking that you want a move that can be hit out of nowhere, right? Like you want a move that can just be like, oh, it happened. Oh my gosh, so exciting! It's over. It's over. Like the RKO. But sometimes it just comes across as falling flat
Yeah,
and not.
yeah. I always
Yeah,
believe that he should like follow through with it and fall with his opponents.
yeah, that'd be like to add some more oomph to
Yeah,
it instead of just like, oh, I've turned my
lariat.
body. You're dead.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
Well,
lariat. You fall down with your opponent. He should like turn
well,
like
it
yeah.
it goes back to my rant about like the Big Show's knockout punch and Lacey Evans' women's rights. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
in what sense?
In that, my position is that those two moves, and in that sense, I guess the Judas effect, I think it's genius. Because
Hmm.
let's be honest, in wrestling, you are going to be making appearances until the day you die, pretty much. You're going to be
Yes.
trying to get that nostalgia pop. You're going to, even if it's not in the big federations, you're going to be invited to veterans halls and high school gyms across the country. And when you're someone like, I don't know, let's say Ricochet, for instance, you can't do a double rotation moonsault when you're 62, but you'll always be able to do a right hook. So I
Yeah.
think it's genius to have a really simple finishing move because when you're thinking about longevity, you will always be able to do it.
Yeah.
I
And
also think that if that's like the attitude every wrestler has, then we get nothing. But
yeah. Also, but
like,
there's a point to be made there with Jericho too, and that the Judas effect it's a newer move. He's only been doing it because he literally can't get his body up for the code breaker anymore.
so why doesn't he?
So
But he can still do the lion salt at least once per match. He
yeah,
can still.
I
Why
don't
doesn't
get
he?
that.
Why doesn't he use the lion salt as the finish? I don't
I
get
mean,
it.
because maybe it's never been his finish. Also, Jericho's very big. He's very not big like fat, but like he's very huge on developing. He makes a point of being like, I'm changing as a character. I'm developing.
Okay.
I like throughout the course of my career, I've grown a lot, and it's been the same character, just with many variations. But you get what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Where
He wants
on
Yeah,
it
his
no
to
one's
feel
podcast,
evolved
different.
more than Jericho has.
yeah, well, maybe Shawn Michaels, but the two of them, incredible. And
Maybe he
what was
should
I just
do
saying?
like a lion salt, but the person's laying down, like a face down on the mat, and they do a lion
Mhm.
salt to their back, and then they pick their legs up for the
For the walls.
walls.
What about a lion salt into a German suplex?
You're talking about the 21 plex by
Yeah, it's the
Bandito.
21 plex.
Beautiful. I don't know what the 21 plex is, but that sounds sick.
That's Bandito's Lucha German suplex.
I watch Bandito matches all the time. I'm a big Ring of Honor fan, guys. So shame on me.
Here,
Let me pull
It's
this.
it's a handspring off the ropes, like you know how people do the handspring off the ropes into a back elbow or something.
here,
Mm-hmm.
here.
So it's a handspring off the ropes into a German suplex.
Let's see. Tiger just sent a video. Let's look at it. Is it
Yes,
like
he
the
did.
Snooki? Is that? Oh, I mean close. Close. I want straight up. You're doing the lion salt, but you jump over your standing opponent. You're behind their back, right into a German. Similar.
Cameron Grimes
What?
did a standing version of what you're talking about once in PWG.
It sounds like kind of like you're talking about like the phenomenal DDT.
But the German.
Let's see. Let's look it up.
I'm talking about AJ Styles' moonsault into a reverse DDT. It's kind of like that. You're saying.
I'm looking at a GIF right now of him doing it to Kota Ibushi up on the. Yeah, exactly. Except you lift your opponent up instead of dragging them down.
What you talking about?
You hit a
Yeah, or
full
the one he
German.
did against Kofi Kingston was the best one he's ever done because it was actually one whole fluid motion. It was beautiful.
This one against Kota looks pretty sick, but let me pull up the Kofi one. Okay, I can't find the Kofi one. It's fine, but that's the
All
most
right, I'll
similar. to
find
me.
it.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I just that's the move. AJ Styles is my favorite wrestler now. It's all decided. Perfect. What do we have next? We have Great American Bash second show, second night. I haven't watched the show yet. I'm looking over the results right now, and it seems really underwhelming.
It was.
Johnny Gargano versus Swerve seems like an awesome match.
It
I'll
was.
like watching that.
It was not all that exciting, unfortunately.
Oh, that sucks.
But
That's
you
Johnny's
might
fault,
still
not
like
Swerve's.
it. You might still like it, but I didn't find
Maybe.
anything too like, because you expect these two to do something crazy, but
Mm-hmm.
so you know how like in every Johnny matches there's like a few moves that you knew that they would do, right? And so is as Isaiah, you know that there's a few moves that they were gonna do, and I feel like they did nothing but those moves, so there was nothing like, oh my god, I can't believe they did this into that. Like there's
Yeah,
none of that, so it was just not very all that
for
exciting
sure.
for me. You know?
Watching this gif of AJ hitting that move on Kofi, he's killing Kofi, it looks like.
Can you
And all
send
he's
it?
doing is falling backwards, but it's rough. Like, wow.
I
Oh
mean,
my
if you look
god.
closely, he's got his left arm hooked around the back of Kofi's head, so he's not making true contact with the mat. Luckily,
Hmm.
that is how to be a professional and
I
protect
think
your opponent the best
Kofi's
way.
selling it well. Like he's snapping back to
Hmm.
to make it look like it killed him. So
Is this 2016 SmackDown or just 2016 WWE in general?
I think
Yeah, this was right after AJ debuted.
Okay, so right
soccer
at the start
mom,
of 2016.
the
It goes to
soccer
our
mom
point
era.
earlier.
Yeah,
Beat up John Cena era. It's great.
yeah.
It's great. Y2AJ
Yeah,
era.
Oh my god.
I started.
Incredible.
Actually, I can pinpoint. I started watching wrestling regularly after Y2AJ at the beginning of Beat Up John Cena.
Okay, so you missed when the Miz knocked, or no, AJ knocked out the Miz's tooth in his first match on Raw.
I did miss that.
Damn, what a shame.
I remember when
Y2AJ.
Later,
Cesaro got both of his teeth knocked into his skull.
that was disgusting. I hate that
Yeah, that
so
was
much.
gross.
Y2AJ sounds like a question.
Why two AJ? Oh, Jesus Christ. No.
Or
No.
actually, if it's Spanish, Y2AJ means U2AJ.
This is true. This is true. Let's just move on to the main event of NXT.
Which
North
That
American
would have been a
champion.
better segue into our match of the week.
we're
Yeah,
not doing
a
match of the
this
week.
Match of the week is for next week, Sam.
Match of the
I hate
week
to
is
tell you.
canceled.
I'm glad we're on the same page,
Then why'd you
Tiger.
make me watch it?
I'm sorry.
All right, we're gonna do the
just
same
think we
match
haven't-
of the week for 3 weeks straight. Okay, this is what's gonna happen.
That's right. That's right. So Keith Lee, North American champion, defending his title against Adam Cole, the NXT champion, also defending his title. Both titles up for grabs. One-on-one matchup. Haven't seen it yet. Apparently Keith Lee wins. Awesome.
I'm glad Keith Lee wins, but this match was also the same problem I had with Isaiah and Johnny. It was
Mhm.
nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay.
It's not also like at one point it's like Adam Cole. I feel like in a match against Keith Lee. Correct me if I'm wrong, and correct me if I'm saying something out of line. I feel like Adam Cole should not be like doing like rest holds on someone that's as huge as Keith Lee with his size. Like
No, that's
he
fair.
he should not be taking control. Like he should be like fighting dirty and staying alive like Ric Flair against Keith Lee. And he shouldn't be like doing like let's do this like 1 minute rest hold spot where Keith Lee struggles to stand up after I do this leg scissors on him. That I feel like that's really boring. It shouldn't happen, and it didn't feel
I have a
believable.
theory.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a theory. So usually we pretty much agree that NXT is good because and this is going to be the smarkiest thing I say today because Vince McMahon tends to have his hands off.
Yeah, I mean I feel like that's
Usually
a fact.
that's
but
because usually that's because Vince McMahon is traveling with the company wherever it may be on whatever day of the week when NXT is being filmed. However, as NXT is being held in the same building as Raw and SmackDown right now, I would have to imagine it would not be hard for Vince McMahon to be showing up to NXT as well. What are some of the hallmarks of a Vince McMahon produced match? You only hit the big moves you know you're gonna hit. Lots of slow rest holds.
I mean, it's hard to say that ever since NXT went on live TV, that they're the same NXT that they were while they were still on the network.
That's true as well.
They're just not. It's completely different.
It's just hard to say that. And also, I don't believe. Okay, correct me. Like I at some point I was sort of bored by this match, but none of the Undisputed Era came out. Which, if there was any interference on this show, I think it would be this match.
Were they barred from ringside? Is that the deal?
Maybe they were
They
still
didn't.
caught up with Roderick Strong. Or wait, was
Yeah,
that
that's
the
right.
week before?
That was the week before, but they could still be
Mhm.
reeling from it, you know? They're just looking out for
Yeah.
their buddy, protecting him backstage.
I mean, if they all came
Uh,
out in bandages and casts, it would give a good reason why they didn't wasn't enough to help up Adam Cole win the match. Right?
I don't I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it after we get done recording, and then I'll probably fall asleep before I even get to it. But I'm sure it'll be cool. Like I get that you said it's boring. I think a lot of NXT matches fall into that trap of just sort of I've I don't know if it's like me just growing tired of something that I've really liked for the past 5 years, or if it's legitimately it's just become more repetitive. But a lot of NXT matches at this point feel for me like they're just going through the motions. Does that make like
No, I honestly agree.
okay?
Despite like going through the motions, like one thing for sure is that they're still better than like main event WWE. Not main event, but like main roster WWE. They're still better than that. But whether or not that's worth your time and investing your emotions into it is a different issue.
It kind of feels like the soul's been sucked out of it, honestly.
Yeah,
Remember when
it's unfortunate.
remember when you're rooting for almost everybody on NXT?
But those were the times, weren't they?
Oh, I guess one more thing we should talk about is uh Escobar's new stable versus Drake Maverick and Breezango. Do you want to talk about
Dude, I thought you said Oscar bars, and I was really confused. But that makes a lot more
that?
sense.
Escobar.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I like DJZ. Raul Mendoza's a weirdo, and King Cuerno is sick, so I
Roman
think it'll be
Mendoza's
a
a
good
great
group.
wrestler, though.
Yeah, I saw him at Access a couple times, and like, despite wrestling in front of 10 people in the middle of the day, he's still like put an effort in. So I appreciated that.
How
But
do you guys feel about
I
I
mean,
saw him at a house show in West Palm Beach against Brennan Williams.
wow,
He put on a pretty good performance.
nice. What were you
Brennan?
saying, Tiger?
Oh, I just said if you don't mind spoilers, do you guys mind spoilers for this match?
Dude, I'm looking at Wikipedia right now. I've
Okay.
seen all the
Okay.
results.
So, Drake gets pinned. I don't know what's the point of having Drake be the main focus of this feud if he gets pinned clean, like in the first match they have.
He's just a big loser crybaby. You know, that's his character.
No longer. You can't book him after all that. You can't book him like the guy who pissed himself after that babyface
Oh,
pop.
I forgot about that. He shoot pissed himself.
He
You know?
did.
I know because they told him to.
Incredible. Well, because his thing didn't work. His little contraption.
Yeah,
It
but that
wasn't
just means
done.
how much he's dedicated to his job. And you shouldn't let a man like that.
And then he made it a gimmick for at least a few weeks. He made it work.
I mean, like, I get what you're saying, Tiger, but at the same time, like, the vast majority of the roster probably has the desire and drive to be in the company and the desire and drive to be one of the best. You can't win every week. Like, I get, like, this probably is a weird scenario to have him lose. Like, why not have Fandango or Tyler take it?
Yeah.
But
I thought the point
maybe
of
it's just.
having Fandango and Tyler be there is so that they could job for
Mhm.
and for him to lose clean. It wasn't like there was some bullshit when the ref was not looking. One of the
Yeah.
like DJZ hit him with like a chair or something. It's not like that. He just lost clean to Santos Escobar, and it's just very disappointing to me.
Yeah. I mean, but part of it is Drake, just given his build, given his personality, all that sort of stuff, he's bound to be an underdog. So, like, I get it. Like, if he's gonna lose, it's a bit more compelling than if he wins every match. But again, he didn't have to win or lose here, you know, or
Exactly.
get pinned
It's
rather.
like you've got a contradiction there where you've got to put over Santos Escobar, new cruiserweight champion, new character, but also Drake Maverick is on a redemption arc here.
Yeah.
So you're kind of in a bad situation booking this to begin with unless you have both of them not involved in the finish.
Also, let's not forget Drake started this feud with a loss in the finale of the cruiserweight tournament. So, if he lost there, I know that loss was due to bullshit interference, but if he lost there and also lost here clean, like, are we supposed to just accept that he's just not as good as Santos? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah. But again, like I don't. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. Like I'm sure he'll get the title eventually, right? But in the meantime, like I mean, ultimately I agree with you. I don't know why I'm arguing to the contrary. Like it doesn't. I don't get why it makes sense, but I'm sure in their minds they have a reason for it. So
Also, it just
we just
makes me
gotta wait and
worried.
see.
Like, oh, this guy almost lost his job during like one of the most troubling times, and finally got his job back, and they're just still gonna treat him like, you know, because of his size. They're still just gonna treat him like
Yeah.
an afterthought, and that would be pretty bad. That would be. I don't know which one is worse, losing your job or like being rehired only to be treated as an afterthought. I don't know which one is worse, to be honest with
Tiger, this is why you got to become a pro wrestler, and then you'll just become the protector of like all the little people, you know. And then your gimmick is just you find the shortest person on the card, and you're just their bodyguard for the night.
you. Is that Hugh Jackman's gimmick with Zack Ryder?
Hugh Jack? Oh my God! You can be the Hugh Jackman of the Indies, Tiger of the Northeast. You don't want that?
No, but do you know what I'm talking about, right? He's like,
Yeah,
I
when he
gotta
gets
find the.
hosted on Monday Night Raw.
When he said, I gotta find the dude that sucks the most, and he saw Zack Ryder, he's like, wow, this guy
Oh.
sucks ass. Let's have him beat the Miz.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let's
I'm
do
sitting
that.
in my trailer. I hear you chirp, chirp, chirp.
Yeah,
I
and
think
you
it's
know
the end of
what?
the episode, guys.
I think you've done enough chirping, and I think it's my turn to show you why they call me the big bad booty daddy.
That's right, Tiger. Can't wait. Can't wait. So, guys, thank you for joining us for this episode of Main Stage. It's felt a lot longer than I think it was, just because we did have an hour of technical difficulties prior. But thank you for joining us. Sorry there's no match of the week. We'll get to that next week. Until then, though, goodbye, everybody.